And she's going to do some general introductions tonight. Make sure you guys can access the back office of the freight broker side, so I can just send you. It's a little different. The setup is a little different, so we'll see. Hey, Brandy. Can you hear me, Brandy? So, Brandy just did site member. She wants to become a site member on your website. View request. All right, Freight Broker 101, the basics. Yeah, it's not that just some basic stuff, not the stuff that, you know. Let's see. Hey, Brandy, can you hear me? Let me type something in for her so she can see if she can hear me. Brandy. Hello. Who's this?
Freddie Mullins.
Oh, Freddie. Oh, you logged in as a guest. Okay. What's up?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Man, trying to get back in the swing of things, stay motivated, keep talking about this trucking.
Yes, sir. I'm expecting some other people who actually enrolled to come into the training tonight. It's just going to be an introduction thing for the members, and then for guests, they just get a kind of idea, an overview. Who's this, number 5? Oh, Brandy's in twice. Brandy, you logged in twice, Brandy? Can you hear me, Brandy?
She's probably muted.
Yeah, I haven't muted everybody. Hold on, let me see.
No, she can hear you. She's probably muted you on her phone, so she can't. So you won't hear what's in her.
Yeah, I think she logged in from her computer, but we'll see. Okay. Yeah, Felicia, Lita, Brandy, Tayshawn, Gwen, and Karen. So if you have something to say, just unmute yourself and then say what you have to say. Okay, so hey, Lita. Lita's joined. Give it about 5 minutes for the other. There's like about 6 people that's enrolled, so I'm gonna give it about 5 minutes. But if you got anything you want to comment on, just unmute yourself real quick before I get started with Freight Broker 101 training. So it's Lita. Lita's here. Tayshawn is here. Brandy is here. She's trying to see if I can hear her. Freddie is here as a guest, logged in. So I'm expecting Gwen and Karen to show up, and Felicia, because I put it on the Facebook chat groups and stuff that we were having it. So we log into there to see. But while I do that, can someone answer the question, what is a freight broker agent? Can you? Okay, she said she texted me. She can see and hear me, but I can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself, Brandy?
Okay, can you hear me now?
There you go. There you go.
All right. Here we go. Oh, Lord.
Okay.
Okay, I'll mute it.
Okay, so you know how to mute and unmute now, so okay, that's cool. Brady's excited too. All right, so I'm expecting. Let's see, I got Lita here. Hey, Lita. So I got 3 of the 6 that are tuned in tonight. I don't know where Karen, Gwen, and Felicia are. I advertised it on Facebook, all the different groups that we were having it. So, but anyway, this is Freight. Welcome. I want to welcome everyone and our one guest, Freddie. This is Freight Broker one-on-one training for beginners, talking about what it's like to be a freight broker and a freight broker agent. Mainly, I'm going to assume that you guys are going to start off as agents so you can build your customer base or what's called a book of business. So when you leave the brokerage that you happen to work up under, if you have an opportunity to work up under a brokerage, then you can leave them and take take all of your book of business with you, or a percentage, maybe half and half, something like that. But so let me ask a question. In your guys' opinion, what is a broker or a broker agent? What do you guys think that person does? And anyone can unmute themselves and answer that question.
Okay, I'll answer it.
Who is this?
Brandy.
Okay, give me 1 second, Brandy, before you answer. Welcome, Ricky and Kim Belgrade. Okay, go ahead and answer that question. Which one are you answering, the freight broker or the freight broker agent?
Well, I will answer the agent. So my role, because I want to be an agent, will be the same as a broker itself. I have to do the same thing. It's just I am running. What is it? Hold on. I am running under the broker's number. So meaning I don't have any dealings with like the insurance and all that stuff that comes with it, all the expenses. So, but I still gotta reach out to shippers and, you know, carriers and all that so forth.
Okay. Does anyone want to add? Okay,
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
Now, being like a broker, meaning like a broker, I mean, a broker has to have his or her own authority. So meaning they basically pay for everything, correct? As far as dealing with the carriers and stuff like that, and like the insurance and all that?
Right, so everything that's required to be a freight broker, whether it's your authority, whether it's having your either a surety bond or a trust fund, all of that is covered by the broker, not the broker agent. So, but the so a freight broker, the difference between a freight, and Brandy, very good, Brandy, the difference between a freight broker and a freight broker agent. First of all, the broker is the middleman between the shipper and the carrier, the owner operator, the truck driver, the person who, you know, the carrier. So they are the person who gets the contracts from the shipper for their loads, broker those out for their percentage, and resells them to the carrier, you know, minus their percentage. That is the high-level definition of what a broker does, basically. They're basically helping the shipper move all those, because some shippers don't have the capacity to handle all their loads that they need to move. They don't have the assets or trucks or things like that. So a broker steps in and provides that service. So now, what is that? What is the process that's involved in that? What's all involved in that? So from a broker's standpoint, and this is 101, from a broker's standpoint, the broker is going to get contracts with the shippers, because the main customers or the main clients of brokers are the shippers. Now, the secondary clients and customers of brokers, of course, are the carriers, because the two have to go together. You have to get loads from your shipper, and then you have to get someone to move those loads, who are the carriers, the owner-operators, the truck drivers. So being the middleman, there is a process involved in that. So one of the ways to get contracts with shippers, of course, is, you cold call, but you have to do your research of the company that's shipping. So when you call a shipper trying to get a load from them, you'll be better served to have a little information about the company prior to calling them, as opposed to going in dark, as we say in the military. You're going in dark. You don't know anything. But if you go in there with a little information, like the type of commodity that they have, what type of business it is, things like that. So when you call and you talk to a logistics manager or coordinator, or a shipping manager or coordinator, you say, hey, I see you guys ship out refrigerated goods, a lot of canned goods, or produce. I'd like to see if I can get set up to help you move some of your loads, help you with your freight. We have trucks in this area daily, in this lane, because by doing your research, you're going to know lanes or what areas of the country that they ship their loads out of. So then the logistics or the shipping manager will, if he's interested, if he has a need, and you'll know that in the very beginning of the conversations. Most of the time, I'll be realistic with you guys. A lot of times you're going to hear a lot of no's. You're going to hear a lot of no's saying, okay, well, no, we have enough, we're okay, our capacity is met, or no, we don't deal with brokers. We just deal with trucking companies or carriers directly. But then some of them say, okay, we need some help. Can you quote a lane for us? So now you're saying, oh, wait a minute, I didn't expect this. so when a shipper tells you that, we need you to quote a lane, then you're going to ask them, okay, what lane you need quoted. So now you're starting a dialogue with that person. So this is what a broker does. They try to win the bid or get added to the load list of shippers. And remember, you are not the only person that the shipper is sending load list to. So there are other brokers that they send their loads out to, not just you. You're added to a load list. So you're competing with other brokers so whoever has the lowest bid and whoever can find the truck the quickest and tell the shipper that they got a truck right now, the lowest bid, they'll get that load tender sent to them to run that load, to book that load with that carrier. So that's how it works. Now, what my goal is to show you guys there are prerequisites to freight brokering, as well as the main requirements to being a freight broker. The prerequisites are that if you are going to have your own brokerage, then of course you need to understand your business plan as it relates to your specific company, your brokerage. If you're going to start a brokerage, what is your business plan? And then there's some concepts in that we talk about, executive summary as it relates to all of your business, your brokerage. I won't go into detail with this tonight. Tonight is just going to be an overview, kind of an introduction, tell you what I'm talking about, and go from there. I expected my other 3 members to come in tonight, but that's fine. Someone just chimed in. Hey, Felicia. Hey, Felicia. Felicia just joined us. Welcome, Felicia. Okay. So for those who are enrolled members, I'm going to email you guys the passwords for the back office, because every time you click this, it's going to say guest area and it's going to ask you for a password. So I'm going to email the members who are enrolled the passwords for hello Felicia for each area. Okay. So, but for now, I'm just going to give you an overview of what this is about. So when you first come into Freight Broker one-on-one training, you know, after you enroll, then we talk about prerequisites. We go into detail about that, you know. So when you finally decide to form your brokerage, how is your business plan going to be? And this is just a template, an example to follow. So how will your business plan be? You know, and then this is the requirements of a business plan, and then you can break it down to your specific business. So this is all under prerequisites. Of course, you got to have an EIN, your business name, your legal structure, whether your business is going to be a sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, LLP, corporation, whether it's S Corp or C Corp. As a business, you might want to open up a bank account, and then as your brokerage grows and you have like a logo or something that you need to protect, like an intangible asset, then you want to consider copyrights, trademarks, and patents, and then of course you deal with taxes and stuff like that. And then your legal services, Rocket Lawyer, LegalZoom, those are examples. And that's under, we'll go into great details later in the course, Freight Broker 101, because this is ongoing. This is just the first night, the introduction, the inaugural opening or beginning of Freight Broker 101. So I'm just want to give an overview of each section for you guys and then see what questions you guys have and what expectations you want to go by moving forward, okay? So that's under the prerequisite section. Under the Freight Broker and Freight Broker Agent section, we mentioned about the roles, Freight Broker and their role, responsibilities. If you are a broker just starting out, it's good to focus on a specific niche, certain niche you want to work on. Let's see, like certain equipment types that might be your niche. Now, from my understanding, the flatbed equipment types are good to start off with because those are easier to get loads for. Flatbed loads being like lumber, steel pipes, things like that. And this, also remember these 3 points that may be helpful to you when you are starting out as a freight broker. You want to have a niche. You want to work on shipper leads, different shipper leads, and now we're going to go over that. There's a ton of information, trust me, a ton of information. So you want to work on shipper leads. I have access to shipper leads. I can show you online shipper leads, PDF that I received from the brokerage that I'm under, shipper leads. Also consider different associations and membership meetings in your local area. You might want to look up like different in your area locally, like different manufacturers and things like that, and go to those meetings, shake hands with those people, introduce yourself, and then talk about your brokerage. Once you form your brokerage, and then ask them if you can help them to move some of their freight. So the roles and responsibilities of a broker. So here's an idea as a broker dealing with a shipper. So if a shipper, and this is the role of a broker, if a shipper has a target rate for the load, and we'll use this one as an example, $5,000. They're selling that load for $5,000, nothing more, nothing less. So as a broker, you get that load, and remember the minimum range is about 15% of the broker charges. So $5,000, you take off 15%, so you're going to make $750 off of that $5,000 load. You're going to resell that to the carrier for $4,250. So that's how you make your money. But nowadays, you have a lot of brokers who are charging more than that. They're taking $1,000 off. They're taking 20%, which is $1,000 off of $5,000, and then they're reselling the load for $4,000. So, but that's how the process works. Now, with the freight agent, you guys, you're going to be doing the same thing as far as going after the shippers, sending out the shipper broker packet to get that return to you to get set up, process that in the TMS system, enter that information, and then you're going to go after, you're going to post a load, wait for the call from the carriers, get the carrier's information, send them a carrier broker packet, get that information back along with their W-9, certificate of insurance, MC authority, process that in your system, get them approved, and then put the two together to book that load. And then the shipper's going to send a load tender. You're going to enter that to your TMS system and create what's called a rate confirmation and send it to the carrier to sign, and that load is booked. That is the process in a nutshell. Now, there's a lot of interchangeable parts in them, a lot of moving parts in that, but that is the process in a nutshell. So, so next is workflow. Let me log into here. Now, again, I'm going to send the ones who enrolled the information. So now I listed the 4 R's to freight brokering could be helpful to success: research, reach out, relationships, and return. And if anytime anyone has a question, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question or type it into the chat. And if I'm moving too fast right now, it's because it's just the first night. I just want to get an introduction, navigate this, and then I'm going to go into a TMS system to show you guys, go into another one to show you how to, if you got a load, how to post a load to a load board, go into a TMS system and navigate through that so you guys can see that as well. But right now I'm just giving you high level tonight. 4 R's of freight brokering. Research, in other words, and this is dealing with the shipping company as it relates to shippers. So you want to research that shipping company before you call them. You want to get as much information about them as you can, so when you call them, you'll seem more professional, or you'll look more professional, or you'll be more professional. Reach out, of course, cold calling, direct visiting if you're local to shipping companies in your area. I know a lot of cities, a lot of major cities have like industrial parks to go visit, business parks, business executive parks, things like that. Like in the Chicago area, I'm in the Norfolk, Virginia area, we have business parks. Relationships, you want to establish relationships by getting them to say, yeah, send us your packet so we can help and add you to our list to send loads to, our load list. And then return. By you successfully booking loads for those shippers, you're going to get, more loads. So that's how that works. These are the 4 R's. And then here's a sample workflow of a freight broker. This is just a sample. This may vary from time to time, depending on what time zone you are in. Typically, like I do a little bit of this, get up at 6 in the morning to 8. You're checking, and this is what you do. This is the job of a freight broker or a freight broker agent. You're checking your emails, updating your loads, because your loads change all the time. Updating your loads on the load board, even making changes. Some of the rates may change, the prices may change. You may have to renegotiate things. And then you're being mindful of the time zone. When you're calling your prospects, most trainings, they recommend 100 calls a day. I'm going to say 50 starting out. Anywhere between 25 to 50 calls a day starting out to prospects until you get to a point where you develop some kind of pattern where you can understand what you're saying. So when you call any shipper, you'll have that pattern to a science, down to a science. So, and before I move on, I want to mention this to the enrolled members who are on here now, to Sean, Brandy, Lita, and Felicia. While you are in the training, you can also, I'm going to extend the ability to earn while you learn. I know the invitation is for you after you get to a point where you're in the training and you want to go work under a broker as an agent. That is still there. Once you get enough training, like Brandy, she's locked in already with Kim. And there are others like Felicia, Lita, Tashawn. You can also lock in with the broker that I'm under. But before that, what I'm going to do or considering doing, and you guys let me know if you are okay with this, as a way to even earn some money as well. I work under Kim, under this brokerage that I'm under, Metro Knight. my commission split is 70%, 30%. I get 70% of the commission. They get 30% of the commission as I bring shippers in and on every load. As you book a load and it gets processed and paid, I get 70, they get 30. So what I'm going to do is, while you guys are in the training and prior to you signing a contract with the broker, Kim, or whoever that is, if you're making calls and you get a shipper to say, hey, yeah, send me a shipper packet, you can get a shipper packet from me through Metro Knife. We can send that out to the shipper, have them fill it out, return it to us, and then since you brought that client in, that customer in, as we book loads on those loads from your customer, you'll get to split my 70% commission. You and I, we split that 70%. The broker still gets their 30, but I'll give you 35 and I get 35 because you brought the client in while you're being trained, and prior to you leaving yourself to go work for them. You guys understand what I'm saying? Any feedback on that? You understand what I'm offering? And if not, give me I want to give me some clarity. Say, give me some clarity, Charles. Oh, let me see. Somebody's commenting. Brandy says, sounds good to me. Felicia said, understand. Because while you're being trained and learning the ropes of it, you may come up as you're making calls. You may hit a lick. You may hit a shipper say, yeah. So what if you were on a training and you were being trained and you wanted to work for a brokerage and after the training? But what happens during the training? You happen to call a shipper and they express interest. What would you do? You don't have a copy of the shipper broker packet on certain trainings, right? So what I'm saying is, on this training, I'm going to give you a copy of Metro Knight's broker shipper packet. I'm going to walk you through that process of what to do. Basically, essentially, you're just going to email them, and then they're going to email it back to my email, and then I'll give it over to who I need to give it over to on the administrative side of Metro. Let them process it, approve that shipper, and then once that shipper starts sending loads, you're actually going to start also posting those loads on the load boards, and then I'll probably receive the calls from the carriers and then get them set up by sending them carrier packets. But once those loads get booked, because you brought that shipper in, that client, that book of business, I'll split my 70% commission with you, 35-35. And then once you leave, whatever commission split you and Kim or whatever broker you join decide, you take that, you get that commission split from that point on. So, are you guys following that? Any questions about that? What I'm offering? And I discussed it with Kim. I thought Kim was going to join in tonight because I'm going to have actual live brokers on the call to join in and provide feedback and talk to you guys. You can get it going like immediately. Tayshawn said, how soon can we get this going? Immediately. If you are ready to start making calls to shippers, as a matter of fact, let me finish up this. Unmute yourself, Brandy. Brandy has a question.
I have a question. So if we find the shippers and then they contact you.
No, if you find the shipper, like say you're doing your regular daily calls, like you have every day you have a workflow every day that you call. Say I'm gonna call 10 to 25, 30 customers a day. Just what happened, one of the ones said, yeah, I'm interested. Send me your packet. You're gonna have a copy in your filing system of Metro Knight's shipper packet. I'm gonna send it to you. So you send it to them. They're gonna return it to Metro Knight. We'll know who the customer is because we'll keep a log of who called that customer, things like that. So we'll be able to know who that person is attached to, which person that's on this platform brought that customer in. I've already discussed that with Kim, and she's fine with it. because it's coming out of my commission. It's not coming out of hers, so it's fine. And also too, when you guys are ready to go, if you're ready to leave and go to a brokerage, and it's just so happen to be Kim that you come up under, you don't have to take the book of business with you because it's the same brokerage. But if you leave and go to a different brokerage, you take that book of business with you. You take that customer with you. So is that your question, or is it something different?
Yeah, that's my question, but it's a little, okay, so what I'm saying is say for instance, I get you a shipper, and then I take 35%, you take 35%. But then once I'm like doing everything on my own, and say I get like some carriers for that specific shipper, do we still have to split the 35-35, or is it the 70% for me and then 30% for Kim?
That's, yeah, if you start getting carriers and you start getting, as long as you're being trained under the brokerage as a student under this platform, and you bring shippers in, you get to split the commission with me. Once you say, Charles, I'm ready to join as a freight agent under Kim, then it's whatever you and Kim discuss, whatever your percentage is, your commission split is 60-40, 70-30, whatever you guys decide.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. But as long as you're a student under the platform, and you could be a student for as long as you feel comfortable, you need the training. And then when you're ready to branch off and become an agent, then I'll send you to Kim, and then that discussion you and Kim have, and this applies to everybody. This applies to Lita, Felicia, Tayshawn, whoever. Once you feel that you're ready to be an agent under a live broker, then Kim she's number one that extended the offer because she knows that they're going through this freight broker training. She said, yeah, once you tell me, Charles, that they're ready to be agents, then I'll talk to them. And then that conversation that you and Kim have, Felicia, Tayshawn, whoever, that's between y'all. Whatever y'all agree upon, I have nothing to do with that. My purpose is just to train you guys up. So while I'm in the train you guys up phase and you find a shipper, I'm splitting my commission split with you guys. The broker still gets their 30%. I'm just taking my 70% and splitting that down the middle with you guys. Once you decide to leave and join as an agent under her, now you get your whole 60%, 70%, whatever that percentage you and Kim or whatever brokerage decides to give you. Tayshawn said, tell Kim I'm ready now. Brandy said it makes sense. Now, Felicia and Lita, you guys are understanding that, right? Because I know Tayshawn got it. Brandy has it. I just want to make sure everybody's clear on how that's working. And I'm gonna kind of hold you guys' hand through that process of doing that. For those who don't know, but I'm gonna hold you guys' hand. Okay. All right. So, because what the goal is, we're trying to bring on agents that do it the right way, do it thorough, basics. And have some integrity and ethics about them. That's what we're trying to do. We know that always, Brandy. Yeah, we know that some brokers have a bad name out here, and I'm trying not to be associated with that. So we want to have some kind of level of integrity, honesty, and showing good work ethic. Also, too, this brokerage, Metro Knight. They have a factory company. They pay their carriers once they deliver. They pay them within 24 to 48 hours, so that there's no issue with the pay process. So that's not a problem. I've done my homework with them, so I kind of endorse it. So I don't know how far my word goes, but I'm just saying I've done my homework. So so back to the workflow. This workflow can be switched up a bit for you guys, however you want to do it. This is just an example. Once you access this, you'll know. Working capital for a broker. There's several ways that you can start off as a broker. Now, this is for a broker. As a freight agent, as a broker agent, you don't have to worry about any of this because you're coming in under someone else's authority. So your expenses is going to be essentially zero because the broker is just letting you come in under their authority, and then you're working on the commission split. So you don't have to worry about a line of credit from a bank. You don't have to worry about a factory company. And you don't have to worry about your savings, whether these are one of the 3 ways to start your brokerage. You can either do it through a line of credit, factor, or savings. So, but as an agent, when you first start off, but this is still good to know because eventually the goal is for you guys to have your own brokerage. So, okay. Let's go to. So are there any questions at this point? Freight broker requirements. And again, I'm going to email the members. Freddie, you still on this call, right? Yeah, Freddie, you still okay. Basic requirements of the freight broker. You guys, even though you're starting off as agents, you probably still want to have this information. The first thing is, you got to go through FMC. Everything goes through the FMCSA, Federal Motor Carriers Safety Administration. There's a registration process, and it's done online. Let's go there. Let's see here. Let's find that site. I had it up. I got so many things up. I had it up. Where is it at? Well, let's do this. Let's get out of here real quick so I can get some bandwidth going. So, under the FMCSA website, registration, this is the main area where you go to the Unified Registration System, or the URS. Sometimes they call it URS, sometimes they call it UCR. But this is going to be for a broker, someone applying for their brokerage. This site is going to be your best friend. Get your authority to operate your MC, get your DOT, update your registration, insurance requirements. Those are the main ones. Let's see. MC authority, the types of MC authority. You go through this, we go through this and discuss it. To apply for your authority is $300. And it takes 4 to 6 weeks for a result. As it relates to a broker, there's 2 main types of a broker authority. There's a broker of property, and then there's a broker of household goods. All the main brokers we deal with every day is finding loads for these carriers out here now from the dispatching side is a broker of property. A broker of household goods is one who deals like a moving company. So if you broker for a moving company, then you're going to have a HHG, or household goods authority, as a broker. So you apply for your authority, and then there's different types: MC authority, FF, which is a freight forwarder, MX, which is dealing with Mexico, and then I give you all the links we need to go to. Very easy access. Next, you're going to need to get your either a surety bond or a trust fund as a broker now. Not as a freight agent. I'm just giving you the broker side. As an agent, you don't need to worry about any of this. You don't need to worry about any of this in the sense that starting out. But when as an agent, when you decide to become a broker, it's good to know this stuff so you'll know how to apply for it. Okay? So there's 2 types of, bonds. One's called a BMC 84, which is the surety bond, and it's based off of credit. The other one is a trust fund, which is the BMC 85. And in either case, the amount used to be $10,000, now it's $75,000, and it's like an insurance policy. You don't have to have the $75,000 all up front. With the surety bond, which is the most common type, it's like a line of credit. It's based off of your credit, and your credit determines what your premium is going to be paying on that $75,000 bond per month. So like a life insurance policy, like if you got a life insurance policy, $100,000, what are you paying per month for the premiums to have that $100,000 policy? The same thing applies with the $75,000 bond. So, and then there's even requirements for a surety bond. And these are the 5. You have to be a U.S. citizen, no bankruptcies in progress, no judgments or liens more than $1,500, and that shows financial irresponsibility. Now, this is FMCSA requirements. No past due child support and no open or prior surety claims. In other words, no one filed against a bond that you had before when you're trying to apply for another bond, because all this is a matter of public record. So no past due child support. That's correct, Tayshawn. That shows, you know why? Because that shows, yeah, child support is everywhere, right? Like the IRS. Because that, you know why? Because it shows financial irresponsibility. Now they're saying, now remember, Tayshawn, the key word is past due. You can have child support, you just got to keep up your payments. You got to pay your child support on time. But once it gets past due, and then you go to apply for a surety bond type of bond as opposed to a trust fund. So if you apply for the surety bond type as opposed to the trust fund type, FMCSA is going to check based off of your social and whatever criteria they check. They're going to see if your child support is past due or if you're paying it on time. If it's past due, then you didn't meet that surety bond requirement, and you may have to go the trust fund route. Yeah, that has to be hard for some people. And some people wonder why they don't get the bond, or they don't get to be a broker when they apply. It may be they may not even be aware. Some people may not even be aware of these requirements under the surety bond section of applying for a broker. Some people may not even be aware of this. So when, like when some broker trainers train people to be brokers, I'm not sure if they're sharing. And this is on the FMCSA website. All they got to do is, all this information is up there. So, and then under the trust fund, it's just you got to have the trust fund. You put that $75,000 all in an escrow account at one time. That's the trust fund. So you got $75,000 just laying around, you go that route. But most people don't. So they go the surety bond way because it's easier. But remember, the easier route doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy, the route is easy to take, because you got the more stringent requirements in the easier route. With the trust fund, there is no, you got to be a U.S. citizen, you got to no past due child support. That's only the requirements under the surety bond, not the trust fund, the surety bond. So with the trust fund, all you got to do is just have your money put up. See, surety bond is a line of credit, is credit based. The trust fund is asset based. So if you got $75,000 in assets that you can put up against your bond, then you get it. So, Brandy asked, how many agents does a broker usually have? It depends, Brandy. As your brokerage, it depends on how many customers the broker have. Like, say, let's use TQL as an example. TQL is a large brokerage, so you can imagine how many agents they have under them because their customer base is huge. You can imagine how many shippers TQL deal with. They're the largest one out there, right? TQL, Coyote, C.H. Robinson, all these brokerages. So they may have hundreds, thousands of shippers, customers. So if you got 1,000 shippers as a broker like TQL, you may assign maybe 10 to 20 agents to handle one customer, and those agents could be assigned to that specific customer, so they're focusing on that specific customer's needs. That could be how Coyote, TQL, C.H. Robinson, how they operate. They may assign agents specifically for that customer and target that customer's niche, that customer's requirements, the equipment requirements, like that. So it could be like that. So as a pro, and they take on more shippers, then they figure that, well, we need to scale our brokerage by bringing on more agents to help cover the need of our customers. And that makes business sense. It's business sense because you don't want to get overwhelmed with a small amount of agents to handle the need of a large amount of customers. So business, it would be wise to have a proportion of agents per customer, per shipper. So as a broker, that's how you want to have your business mindset. You want to think of it like that. So for example, like with Metro Night, let's use us as an example. Metro Night Logistics, we on 5 shippers. So 5 shippers on us. Each shipper hands out, I don't know, 20 loads of food a day. So 5 shippers, 20 loads a day. So you figure 5 agents per should be able to do 20 loads a day. So each agent booking 4 loads a day, loads a day, and then you see how those work there? Okay. Can you hear me now, Tayshawn? Tayshawn said I was breaking up. Can you hear me now, Tayshawn? Let's make sure I'm good.
Yeah, I can hear you up, man. It was a little choppy, though, when you was talking.
Okay. My fault. All right. So the next thing you need as a requirement, now we're under freight broker requirements as an overview. The next thing you need is to obtain a processing agent or a DOC3. What a processing agent is if someone files a claim against your brokerage, the processing agent is the person who legal papers or court papers can be handed to in order to handle that process. So in each state or area where you're moving loads as a broker or you're handling loads, you need to have a processing agent there. And one processing agent can handle more than one state. So essentially, you could have one processing agent handle 10 to 20 states. So you don't have to worry about hiring a processing agent for all 48 states. You may have 10 processing agents to handle all 50 states, or you may not even book loads in all those states. So every state that you broker out of or broker freight through, then you need a processing agent for. Okay, that's how that works. So a processing agent is a representative upon whom court papers may be served in any proceeding against a carrier, broker, or freight forwarder. Okay? And that's on FMCSA 2. I provided links there for you guys to look up as well. Another requirement, obviously, is insurance. As a broker, you're going to need insurance. It's typically contingency cargo because as a broker, when you bring a carrier under an agreement to come under your brokerage, the carrier's insurance usually covers the freight or the commodity on the truck first. But let's say, for example, that the carrier's insurance doesn't cover enough of the freight in case of a damage or anything like that. Say you have $1 million worth of cargo, or not $1 million, but say $500 worth of cargo on that truck, and the carrier's insurance cargo only covers half of that, $250,000. So this is where the broker's insurance comes in and covers the difference, like $250,000 cargo, things like that. So, and it shows if you as a brokerage have insurance, when you go after the shipper, try to win those loads from that shipper, the shipper sees that you have insurance. It shows the shipper that you're all in for their loads, that you got your own insurance, you're not just leaning on your carrier's insurance. You got your own insurance to help cover. You know, if I'm a shipper, I'm saying, yeah, I'm going to give you my loads because I see you're all in. You got your own insurance. You're not only relying on the carrier's insurance, but you have your own. So it shows a little, you all in with them. So, and then again, we got the UCR, the Unified Carrier Registration. That's just the UCR is where every 2 years you have to update your or renew your authority. Whether you change something, maybe you change the name or update the authority in general. You go through the FMCSA website to do that every 2 years, biennial. So, and that's on here too. You might have changed your name. You may have revoked your bond and you have to reinstate it. Things like that. So, and this is under freight broker requirements. So next is shippers.
Hey, Charles, got a question.
Yes.
Hey, so if we decide to go under Kim's brokerage or any brokerages for that matter, do we have to be local? Were they located? Is that something you have to do in the office, or are we able to do it from home? How does that work?
No. I can answer that question easily because I'm not local with Kim. Okay. Kim is based in Winter Park, Florida. I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Huh?
She's like right by me, man. I live right outside of Winter Park.
Yeah, so she's down there. The brokerage's home base is down there. I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So
okay.
So I work from home.
All right. Yeah,
so,
I was wondering that, man. But
yeah,
now,
so that's not,
I got it with her. But if we were to decide to go with another brokerage, is that likely that we still be able to work from home, or do they require? Depend on, or it's up to the brokers. Like, hey, we need you to come to the office.
And that's a good question. And it's a case by case basis. It depends on how large the brokerage is. If they have a brick and mortar established where they want agents to be on site as well as work remotely, it varies. Most brokerages starting off small, they'll say you can work from home because if you're starting small, you can't afford a brick and mortar to bring in agents because now you got extra overhead. You got to deal with the building, paying expenses for that, all the equipment that's involved. So it's easier to have someone work from home, as opposed to coming to a brick and mortar, creating that extra expense. Now, once you establish your brokerage and you set up brick and mortars and you have equipment, you can cover the equipment, the internet access, all the printers and things like that, the phone systems, then yeah. But starting out, I would highly recommend having your agents work from home, commission-based, work from home, highly recommend it because your overhead is low, very low. So,
okay.
Under the dealing with shippers section of Freight Broker 101, I provide plenty of resources to go to for shippers. Here's one. And under here, when you click it, for me, like McGray's Blue Book, you can click the image or the link, and it'll take you there. Matter of fact, let me click the image so I can show you what I mean. So McGray's Blue Book, click the image. It should open up another page like it does. And go back. So McGray's Blue Book is a resource to find shippers. Thomas Net is another resource. Now this is the beginning phases of being a freight broker or a freight broker agent. The first phase of it is like with dispatching. The first phase is getting carriers under agreement. In freight brokering, a freight broker agent, the first phase is going after the shippers because they're your main customers. They're your money makers. So some of the resources to go after the shippers are McGray's Blue Book, Thomas Net, of course Google. This was a good one here, Quit My Finance. That's a good one. And we're going to go into these in detail. I'm just giving you guys an overview tonight to show you the areas of the site and what we're going to be going into. Produce Market, Careers in Food. Now, Careers in Food is dealing with, of course, what equipment type do you think Careers in Food is dealing with? Or what types of shippers or equipment types you think the Careers in Food is dealing with?
Reefer.
There you go. So, I'm sorry, I'm eating a little cookie. I've been starved. I've been with my mom all day. She got discharged from the hospital, so I barely made it here like 5:55 before I logged in. Manta. So many resources. Blue Book Services. And then also dealing with shippers, now we got cold calling. We talk about cold calling. Thank you, Brandy. She is better. She's at home. She doesn't feel better. All the medication has her a little bit woozy and kind of incoherent. So I said, get some rest, Mom, because you're not making sense right now. So, but under the shippers, one of the main ways to get a shipper, cold calling. Some people hate cold calling. Some people are fine with it. If you come from a call center environment, then you would not have a problem with cold calling. So, okay, what's your question, Brandy?
My question is, have you ever thought about doing containers?
I thought about it, then I stopped thinking about it. Containers is a headache. Headache.
It is a headache. Yes.
It's
but
port, a lot of port. You got to deal with port authorities. You got to deal with government stuff. It's just a headache. Unless you got the skin for it, unless you got the skin for it, I'm not trying to discourage anyone for getting into containers, but what I'll say is this. From a freight broker or a freight agenting standpoint, come into this space from the easiest route first. So take the path of least resistance before you take the path of the most resistance. So come in from the easiest standpoint, learn the process, learn the workflow, and then kind of challenge yourself to do something else. Expand your niche market. So come in with a specific niche, like you want to go out. Say I want to go after flatbed shippers, or I want to go after dry van shippers, or I want to go after reefer shippers, and then get those. And the reason being is because remember, in the dispatching side, flatbeds, dry vans, and reefers are the easiest equipment types to move freight in from the dispatching side. So it stands to reason that those same equipment types, the shippers for those equipment types, should be easy as well to try to win the bids for their loads. So once you get established with those three equipment types, and you establish a customer base of 5 customers per each equipment type, 5 dry van shippers, 5 reefer shippers, 5 flatbed shippers, and you're moving those loads pretty steadily. Then you have your own sub agents under you. So as a freight agent, you can have sub agents under you. You didn't realize that. I don't know if you guys realize that or not. You can have sub agents working under you. They're going to get a cut of your commission, but they can work under you. So work under those easy equipment types, shippers, and then challenge yourself if you feel that you need to scale, and you want to challenge yourself. Then go to the containers, go to the tankers. Good luck with the tankers and the drayage. Good luck with that. But yeah, challenge yourself after but establish yourself first. So, but cold calling. Sometimes when you call companies, you got a gatekeeper there, like a receptionist. They'll answer the phone first. You ask them, can I speak to someone else or someone in logistics? Or if you've done your research and you got enough information from your research, hopefully you come across someone's name who's in charge or who's a manager in logistics or transportation. So when the gatekeeper answers the phone and say, hello, can I help you? You can just say, yeah, I want to speak to Charles in logistics. Or Charles in transportation. And you should say, hold on, let me patch you through to his line or his voicemail or whatever. So, and here's a general script for the gatekeeper, and then a general script for the shipper, the actual person who you talk to on the phone. So for the gatekeeper, hi, my name is, and then Brandy, and I am with Metro Logistics or whatever. I was wondering if you could tell me who was in charge of shipping. And that's just general. Some people say don't say that, but that's just a general script, a call script for the gatekeeper. And of course, this is just a sample. You could tweak it however you feel for your way of talking to someone on the phone. You don't have to use this script verbatim. Just use this sample or a template and then tweak it to how you want to. and then they will give you that person's name and may even offer to transfer you through to them directly or their voicemail. That's what the gatekeeper does. That's their job. And then, of course, this is what, that's what you want to happen now because you got their name and you're being transferred. So once transferred to the person in charge, then you need to speak to them. So here's the script for that. So, hey, whoever the shipper's name is, hey, hi, Charles, this is Brandy with Metro Night. I have trucks in your area daily, and I was wondering what I need to do to help you move some freight. And that's just general, straight to the point. Again, you could tweak that script to your specific format or flow, but you get the gist of what you need to tell them or ask. I should say, not tell, but ask them. So once a shipper hears that, they'll either say some of these are some of the responses you might hear. We do not use brokers, which is cool because if you call in the shipper as a freight agent, you do not use brokers, and now you're also an independent dispatcher like me, I can say, okay, so now I got a shipper who don't use brokers, so now I got a direct shipper. So let me put my independent dispatching hat on and then do it in a call as the independent dispatcher. That's one response. Or they may say, we do not need brokers at the moment, but check back in a few months or a few weeks or whenever. I usually hold them to that. I will check back. I'll call them back and say, hey, remember me? Because I want the business. Especially if it's a good shipper whose lanes pay well. And you will learn that too. Certain states, the loads move better than other states. If you're in North Dakota, I'm not worried about getting a shipper in North Dakota because their lanes suck. Okay. Lisa said she wants to get set up ASAP. I got to call Kim. But matter of fact, let me see if I can get Kim on the line right now, live. Let me see. She's my broker. Well, I got you guys on. See if I can talk to Kim. Call her live. Hey, Kim, you busy?
Actually, I am walking in the house. How are you doing?
I'm okay. You're live on Freight Broker 101 Training for Beginners.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I didn't have you call in, but I got you on the phone. But I said, call Kim. They can hear you on the phone, but I'm on the I have them muted, but they hear you. They're saying hello. Okay. They're saying hello in the chat. I wanted to.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Tayshawn said everybody wants to work under you. I've been telling them, how good of a broker you are.
Okay, yeah, and I was actually, it's so ironic that you called. I was just thinking about you and thinking about doing some flyers and getting some good stuff out and getting the information out about the co-brokering, with us at Metro Night.
Yeah, because I was telling them because I'm offering to split my commission. You still get your commission as the broker, but as I bring them under, while I'm training them, and if they bring a customer on a shipper, then I'll split my commission with them, as long as they're and then when they break away from me and want to come under you as an agent, then whatever you and them discuss, that's between you and them, right? So
exactly.
So yeah, exactly. so I wanted them to hear. Yeah. See, so them hearing you say that and me saying it earlier, it just reconfirms, it just reaffirms what I was telling them. So.
Oh yeah, because we know that over this way we that they're gonna get trained the right way and that they're gonna get the proper instruction and operational procedures and everything. So we are more than welcome, more than happy to welcome them in to Metro Night.
Okay, I'm good. I didn't want to hold you up. I just wanted to hear your voice and wanted them to hear your voice. And
yeah.
Okay.
So this is the first night, so I know everybody's all excited. How many people are in the class?
I didn't see Karen and Gwen yet. They didn't show up, but I got a couple of matter of fact, wait a minute, I got 8. Okay. Felicia, of course, Brandy's here. Brandy's here.
Okay.
Tayshawn, Lita, those are the ones that signed up. Kim and Gwen and Karen are not. And then we got a few guests who are logged in.
Okay, so what states do we have represented? I know Brandy, Illinois.
Okay, so everybody, while I got Kim on the line, can you type in the chat what state you're from, even the guests, because the broker wants to know what state you guys are out of. That's a good question because that helps us go after shippers for good moving lanes.
Yes.
So guys, type the states that you're representing, that you're from. I know Brandy's from Illinois, so everybody else, can you type the state in your chat? Tashawn says he's from New York, but he's in Florida. But Tashawn is from New York. So what about Lita? Lita, what state are you in? Lita's in Indiana. I'm gonna make a note of this. That's good. So the Midwest is pretty good.
Yes.
Okay, so
down south here in Florida.
Right. So New York is Tayshawn is New York. Brandy is Illinois. I'm making a note of all this because that way we can focus on shippers. So that'd be like a strategic kind of thing. We can position the agents in states that are pretty good. So that's good. Felicia, what state?
And then it relates to commodity too in those areas.
Correct. So I'm waiting for Felicia. I think Felicia's still on the call. Hal, what state are you in? These are guests too. Hal and 810 area code and who was that? What that was in? Freddie, what state are you in? So type the states that you're in, because the broker wants to know. Kim wants to know. I'm referring to you in the third person. You're on the phone with me.
That's fine.
Oh boy. So okay, I'm not gonna hold you. I know you're a very busy person, so
Got no problem. I thank you guys for calling.
All right.
I look forward to working with each and every one of you.
Okay. All right, Kim. Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
All right. So someone just tuned in. Hey, Shanta. Shanta just missed the broker on the phone. So, Felicia, what state are you in? Because you're part of the platform, so I need to know what state that you're in. And who's 810? 810. It's not one of the ones who signed up. Okay, Felicia's in South Carolina. That's good. So we got some good states that have freight. So the agents that are coming under. So you guys got to hear Kim's voice. I work under Kim in Metro Night. She's excited for you guys to learn. I told her that she's going to split my commission as you guys bring in customers, and then when you come under her as an agent officially, then you guys will get a commission split between you and her, whatever you guys decide. I have nothing to do with that. But as long as you're being trained under me and you bring a customer on, I'll split my 70% with you as a show of appreciation for that. So, all right? That's fair enough? Okay, Hal is in Kansas. Hal's a guest. Hal's not under the freight broker, but he's just a guest too. I was just curious. And then Freddie, what state are you in? Hey, Shanta. Shanta, what state are you in? Okay, Shanta's also in Illinois. And then Freddie, I don't know what state you're in, Freddie, but just type it in, Freddie, if you hear me. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. The response from the shippers: do not use brokers. Do not use brokers at the moment, but call me back in a few months. This one here is a good one. Can you send me a lane quote? So if you call a shipper and they say, can you send me a lane quote? Then, of course, you're going to ask them, well, what lane do you want quoted? So someone give me a lane. And first of all, does everyone know what a lane is? What is a lane? Can someone answer that question?
Hey, is it the route from a pickup location to a drop location?
Correct. That is a lane. So give me an example of one. So I'm a shipper. So Tayshawn, let's use you. Yeah, very good, Lita, very good, Shanta. Origin to destination. So give me a lane, because I'm gonna show you what you would do. And this is Metro Night's DAT. This is a broker level login, Metro Night. This is Metro Night's TMS system. We use a SIN. So this is where if you guys have come under her, you'll have access to a SIN. You'll have access to DAT to be able to all the broker level tools and resources you'll have access to in order to make your job more effective. So under this third response from a shipper during the cold call, the shipper shows interest. He says, can you send me or can you give me a lane quote? And at that time, you'll say, well, you are asking for lane information. So give me a lane, Tayshawn. Give me a lane and an equipment type, and I'm going to go into DAT and look up. Because once the shipper asks you, can you give me a lane, you'll say, okay, I can give you that. What's the lane? He'll give you the lane from Houston, Texas to Oklahoma City for a drive-in. And then you say, okay, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. Now with me, I'm at a place now. The shipper asks me for a lane quote. I'll say, well, what lane you want? He'll say from Dallas, Texas to Jacksonville, Florida for a drive-in. I could spit them the numbers right there on the phone. I don't even have to look at the thing anymore because I've done it so much. So Tashana, can you give me a lane and an equipment type, and we can go into that. And
I can give you one because I was struggling to find my guy one earlier from Charlotte, North Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, yeah, we might as well stay on theme, right? But now on the broker shipper side, this is a lane. And what was the equipment type for your guy?
It was a reefer, 53.
Okay, a reefer. Okay, so when you come into here to do a lane quote for a shipper to give them some numbers because you want to win the bid for their business, so we'll say we're going to come in here. We're not going to search for a load because we're not looking for a load. We want to go in there and post it. We're going to go into post loads because we're going to act like we already got that lane. So we want to see. Okay, Freddie said he's from California. Okay, thanks, Freddie. Okay, we want to see what that says or the average for that lane is right now today. So, Charlotte, and this is what you're going to do as you like if you hang up, you're going to hang up the phone with that shipper. Say, I'm going to call you back in about 5-10 minutes. And you click, you're going to hang up. You're going to come in here or whatever load board you use, and you're going to post that load as if you already had the lane, so you can get what the number is. So you can go back and tell the shipper this is what our rate is. So here we go. Charlotte, North Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia. And you said a reefer, right? Reefer. So that's 245 trip miles. Here is the broker to carrier spot rate. This is the spot rate. So this is the rate of it. This is the middle range. This is the 755, the low end, 903, the high end. So as a negotiator with the shipper, how do you think you should approach that? Should you add some money on top of that so you can get your spread or your percentage off that you're going to make off the load?
Of course.
Or how do you think? Huh?
I will come in and probably like 1,000 or 950 to 1,000.
Yeah, there you go. Because realize you're talking to a shipper now. You're not dealing with a carrier. If you were dealing with a carrier, this is what you would give them. Either the rate or you'll tell the carrier that this the quote for that lane or the price for that lane is the middle price is $834, $850 or whatever. But with a shipper, you're trying to give them a target rate and add your spread on top of that so you can make your money. So like Tayshawn said, you said 1,000. So if the shipper says, okay, I'll sell that load to you for 1,000, you're going to post that load at maybe $900 or $800 so you can make that $100 to $200 difference profit off the load. You see how that works?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does everybody understand what I just said?
Yes.
Okay. That's how it works on the broker shipper side. That's how it works. Right? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna call the shipper back now and say, okay, yeah, so that lane that you quoted me, that Charlotte, North Carolina, Mr. Shipper, to Atlanta, Georgia, we want to do it for like $1,000. The shipper gonna say, okay, that's fine for a reefer, and that's decent for a reefer, $1,000, because also too, I'm glad you said a reefer, because now you got to take some other things into consideration. With reefers, you got to consider: is it a 1-and-1? Is it 1 pick, 1 drop, or is it 2 picks, 2 drops, 1 pick, 3 drops? So how many stops are involved in that reefer load? Let's say it was a van load. Let's not make it complicated. Let's say it was a dry van load. Let's change this equipment type to let's say flatbed or a van, right? Let's say van. So now your numbers are going to change. You notice that? If you change it to a flatbed, your numbers are going to change again. For this lane, so from Charlotte to Atlanta, Those are the numbers right now today. Those rates suck right now because the rates are down. Let me open up my map because it's coming from North Carolina down. It's coming up North Carolina down to the southeast. So as you work as a freight agent, a broker agent, and eventually a broker, you're going to start discovering or start targeting shippers in states. And that's the whole goal. You're going to start targeting shippers in states where the lanes pay good, because it doesn't make sense to target shippers, to go after shippers in the states where the lanes suck. Because if you win a bid for those lanes in the states where the lanes suck, you're going to have a hard time finding carriers to move those loads because they're not paying. Right? It just makes sense. If you want to bid from a shipper that's in a state that's not moving, the lanes are not good, they're paying like $1.25 a mile, you're going to struggle you're going to post those loads, but you're not going to get calls from anybody because they're not paying. So you're not going to be moving. So your volume percentage or ratio is going to be very low because you're not moving the loads because you're in states where they're not paying. Shanta asks, would you suggest going to talk to? Yes. Oh yes, directly. If you could talk, especially if you are Shanta and everybody. Shanta, that's a good question. She said, do you suggest going to shippers directly to talk to them? Yes. That's the number one option. I would rather if you had the courage and the balls to do that directly, to talk to them, because you're showing your face, you're shaking hands with somebody, you're having a verbal exchange, eye contact, they're getting to know who you are, as opposed to being on the phone, calling them, cold calling, because they get calls from brokers or potential brokers every day. But if you go there and meet them in person, you actually get to shake their hand and meet them. So yeah, that is definitely option number one, especially if you are in a state where the manufacturers or shippers, where the rates are pretty good. Usually the Midwest, like Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois, Wisconsin, those areas. Southeast area, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, this area. Maybe a little bit of Texas, some California, depending on like if it's produce season. The Pacific Northwest, like Washington State, like Idaho with the potatoes, Washington State with the apples, and Oregon, oranges. So this Pacific Northwest region right here. So Missouri, that's a good point. Good point, Shanta. Missouri's good. But if you're in North Dakota, you might want to consider going somewhere else. Montana, you might want to consider going somewhere else. I'm not saying that there's not freight there. I'm just saying that the rates of the freight, starting out is not cool too. Also too, as a freight agent, go after smaller shippers in the states that have the loads that pay well. Go after the smaller companies first. Even though they're smaller, they still pay good rates because they're still in those states. Start small and then work your way to the bigger companies in those good freight moving states. So what should we do? That's a good homework assignment. Let's do this as a homework assignment for next Friday. Let's do some research and come up with let's decide what are the states that you guys think. And this can help us all collectively, as a collective, in Freight Broker 101, especially those who've already enrolled. It'll help us all collectively decide what states move the freight the most. Freight coming in and out. Once we determine that, let's pick 5 states and all over the country, like say, let's set up like a triangular kind of thing. And then once we decide that, then let's research manufacturers in each of those states by going, and I'll show you guys how to do that. Let's go to the state's Chambers of Commerce website, do a search for the manufacturers. There's a ton of them. List those manufacturers and then go from there. Also, I have a resource, this is for members of Freight Broker 101, the PDF that Kim has provided me, the National Register Brandy, I think Brandy already has a copy of this. This is a very good resource. The 2018 edition, we're in 2019, so this is the most up-to-date one. Okay, National Register of FTL and LTL shippers. FTL is full truckload, and LTL is less than truckload. Shanta said, "Woohoo, the keys." I'm giving you the keys to the Ferrari. Yep, this is for members only though, Shanta. But I'm just showing you, this is an introduction for tonight because this is our first night in Freight Broker 101. So Shanta says she's coming. But this is comprehensive database of full truckload and less than truckload American shippers and decision makers. So look, let me show you what this is. So this is going to shorten up. This is going to shorten up your whole quest of finding shippers. I got a 310-page database of up-to-date shippers per state. So if we go through this, so you talk about resources, come on. So if my computer acts right, I can actually show you. Any questions while I'm trying to get my computer? So here we go. So we go through here. So the state, and it's in alphabetical order, mind you. So once we determine, so that's what we can do as a collective under Freight Broker 101. I just thought of something. So once we determine the states, after we do our research and determine, I'm going to answer your question in a second, Shanta. Once we determine the states that we feel move the most freight efficiently in and out, then we can cross-reference the National Register 2018 edition database of that state. Let's say, for example, Alaska was one of those states. We know it's not, but let's say it was. The state right here, Alaska, the company, their address, phone number, and the commodity that they have, and the person you need to call. Here's a contact number. So in each case, it lists that information by the state. Look at that, Alaska, all the way down. Alaska. Then you get into Alabama. The company, ADS, person to contact, the president of the company, the commodity, what they ship. Remember the 4 R's, research. You don't have to research that much. You got it right there. You got the name of the company in Alabama. All you have to do, this makes your job a little easier. Remember, Google's your best friend, right? ADDS LLC in Huntsville, Alabama. We'll say Mobile, Alabama. That's close enough. Boom. Here it is. Come on. You got more information? You might take you to a website or whatever. Look them up. Get information. I mean, they're in the concrete construction. Right? So Alabama, so it's in alphabetical order, the different types of commodity, dog food, bumpers. So based off the commodity, you can tell the equipment type that they haul. Of course, dog food, that can go in a dry van or a reefer, depending on how cool you want to keep it. You can talk to Greg Broussard, who is the warehouse manager. That's the person you definitely need to call. Del Monte, which is a large company. They're a Decatur, Georgia, or Decatur, Alabama plant. A production plant in Decatur, Alabama. You talk directly to Greg Broussard. You don't even got to get to a gatekeeper. You go directly to the source. Here's the contact number. What else do you need, right? And it's in order by states. So I'm going to ask Kim, because she purchased this, so I'm going to ask Kim if I can share this PDF, which I'm sure it is because it's going to benefit her company anyway. Share the PDF with the members of Dispatcher 101 who's enrolled, who's also considering working for Kim. So you have an alphabetical order list, 310 pages, so that's thousands of resources up to date, 2010, up to date. I mean, I'm sorry, 2018, up to date. So, Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, not Arizona, Arkansas. AR is Arkansas. So, I mean, this is a resource. Let me answer Shanta's questions real quick. Shanta asked, what are the benefits of being a freight agent versus a dispatcher? A freight agent works up under a freight broker. They get paid for each load that is booked. So you could essentially, so if you got 5 customers and you're moving 10 loads a day for each customer, that's 50 loads, and you're booking 10 loads a day for those 5 customers, and you're making whatever percentage you're making for that, then you book those loads, then that's what you're making off of those loads for those customers. As a dispatcher, you're doing the same thing. You may not be booking as many loads per day because you're not working in a higher volume, but you're still moving loads. But you got to go through the broker or shipper. You got to have a dispatch agreement with the carrier. As an agent, if you get the advantage is as an agent, if you get a good paying shipper, once you post that load on the load board, all the carriers are going to see that. They're going to be calling you as opposed to you going after carriers. So once the carrier calls you, all you got to do now as an agent is send out the carrier broker packet, let them fill it out, send it back to the brokerage. Then as an agent, you're not going to process that. The broker's going to actually process the paperwork. You just get it back, forward it to the administrative team on the brokerage, let them process it, run the credit of the carrier, get them approved, and then you book the load, and you get paid for that service. So instead of you going after carriers as a dispatcher, carriers are coming after you based off of your customers' good paying freight. So the key to a freight agent now is finding the customers with the good paying freight. So that's why we in Dispatcher 101, we need to focus on what states, in our opinion, based off of our research, and let's do that for next Friday, determine which states we think potentially have the best moving freight coming in and out. Once we determine that, let's choose 5 states. And let's spread them out a little bit too, like Texas, Georgia, like in a kind of like a square or triangular thing. So once we determine those states, then we'll go into our database, go to those states, and then look for companies in that state, and then maybe even assign each one of us to call those shippers and go after those shippers like that. Does that sound like a plan? Kind of like a teamwork kind of thing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. But that's the strategy. That's the strategy. So we decide, because there's no point in going into a state that we may or may not know have shippers and manufacturers that pay good rates in that state. It makes no sense. We're wasting our time. We're spinning our wheels. So let's focus on states that we know that the lanes are pretty good. And as dispatchers, we should know that because we've been booking loads as dispatchers and we see certain lanes in certain states all the time. That's a good state. Those lanes are good. So let's go after those companies. And then also, too, if you're on this platform, if you join this platform and you're already an independent dispatcher, and if you book loads, I'm going to give you a little hint. If you book loads as an independent dispatcher, you see rate confirmations, and you see those good lanes on those rate confirmations. Where do you think those loads are being picked up from? Shippers. So you got your resource right there. So if your carrier has a good lane that you book for them that's paying a good rate, when you see that rate confirmation, the pickup is the shipper. They're picking up from a shipper. The shipper is shipping out that freight to be delivered to a receiver. Even the receiver can be a shipper, because if you notice, some warehouses says shipping and receiving, not just receiving or not just shipping. So independent dispatchers who's on this call, look at your rate confirmations. Those are shippers on the shipping side. Those are shipping companies. So look at the rate confirmations for those shippers. Compare and make sure that those lanes are paying pretty good. Yes. Shanta said, can we call them? Why not? What's stopping you from calling them? What's stopping you from calling? What's stopping you from calling a shipper on the rate confirmation? No, a breach of what contract? No. You can call those shippers, especially now if you're going to act as a freight agent. You can book a load on your dispatching side, right? And get the rate confirmation, book your load for your carrier, and then take that rate confirmation, put on your freight agent hat, call that same shipper on that rate confirmation, and pitch as a freight agent, try to get them under the brokerage. See how that works? So now we're thinking as entrepreneurs, business people, and we're utilizing more of the resources that we had at our exposure that we didn't realize that we could use. There's nothing stopping you from doing that whatsoever. There's no double brokering or nothing like that. Nope. Because when you book the load as an independent dispatcher, remember now, dispatcher, freight agent. So as an independent dispatcher, you book the load for your carrier through the broker, and you got the rate confirmation from the broker. That's the broker's customer. So so you're acting as an independent dispatcher when you got that rate confirmation. But now when you put on your freight agent hat, you can go after that shipper because the shipper don't care which broker moves their load as long as their load gets moved. They can care less which broker moves the load. That's why they got thousands of brokers on their load list. Some shippers email thousands of brokers, and whoever calls them first with the truck, they get the load. Like I remember, I think Brandy's watching I gave Brandy a YouTube, I think it's a YouTube video or a Udemy video from Irving Logistics where he says whoever finds the truck finds the load, wins the load. You know, the first one to the truck. So all the brokers got the shipper. Some people say getting the shipper is easy. Finding the truck to move that load is a challenge. I agree to that sometimes, and I disagree. Getting the shippers is easy, but getting a shipper that pays a good rate for a load, that's the challenge. Because once you get that, then you post that load. Now carriers are going to be calling your phone left and right. It's going to come to a point where, as a freight agent or a broker, you're going to be getting calls from carriers that you're not going to be able to control by yourself. You may have to scale and add people to your business. So, someone has a question? Someone's unmuted. I thought they may have a question. Okay. But that's our assignment for next week. I think the first month I'm gonna probably do it Friday evenings from 6 to 8 because everybody can tune in. And then at some point I'm probably gonna switch the trainings up. Like I do dispatcher 1-on-1 Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 11 to 1. I may do freight broker 1-on-1. I may. You guys let me know what you think of this. I may do freight broker 1-on-1 Tuesday, Thursdays from 11 to 1 because that time of day we can actually, like we call for dispatcher 1-on-1, we call carriers and brokers live. Freight broker 1-on-1, we can call shippers live during those times from 11 to 1. We call shippers live, get on the phone, get turned down or get accepted saying we want this and everything like that. So when we sign up and okay, everybody's sounding good at that. So for the first month, let's kind of assess how it's going, 6 to 8 p.m. and then I'll probably switch it up Tuesday, Thursday, probably in April, so we can start calling live. So as we work it, so we're going to actually be working together as a group, like we're doing now, finding the states, going through the database, and doing that, so we can actually go through the database and then actually pick one and actually call them, get on the phone. I'll do it. You guys can do it. We can all do it together, take turns, call them, work on our scripts, tighten everything up. Because if we're going to be one unit, one cohesive, collective unit, then we all need to be on the same page. Is that fair enough? Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, someone asked a question. Shanta's excited. That's good. That's good. Shanta asked, Shanta, can you unmute yourself, or are you at work? She said, when we sign up and work under Kim, are we dedicated to her freight only? You mean when you sign up as a freight agent? When you finally decide to go under Kim as a freight agent, you're bound by the contract that you and Kim have because it's an agent-broker relationship. So when you find a shipper under her brokerage, then your commission split with her. Yeah, you're bound by that because you're under a contract with that. All freight agents are bound under the brokerage that they're working under. So when you find customers, until you leave, then whatever you guys agree upon, you take your book of business with you, or you take a percentage of your book of business with you, maybe half, and then leave half when you leave, or take it all with you. But as long as you're working up under any brokerage, whether it's Kim's or anyone, whatever the contract stipulates, of course, when you find shippers under that brokerage, then you're bound by them under that brokerage. I mean, that's a commonality in this business. So, any other questions or comments? I'm going to probably cut it short. I was going to do it till 8 o'clock, but I'm going to cut it short. I need to call my mom, make sure she's okay, and need to see if she needs any medication. I need to go out to the drugstore and get. But next week's assignment, I'm going to check with Kim, number one, to see if I can at least give a copy of this to the members of Dispatcher 101 who's joined the platform. She definitely going to say yes because it's involving her brokerage and it's helping her. And this is her. She purchased this, so this is her baby. So for the ones who want to come under her, I'm sure she's going to say yes. Kim is very easy to work with. Trust me. Very
Charles, quick question though. Do you think that she'll be willing to let you know what shippers she already has contracts with, so that way as we calling shippers, we're not like calling the same ones that she already has, if that's possible?
Yeah, well, I can show you the one she because she mainly works on her trucking side, and I mainly work on the shipping side. So the ones that she has now, she has. Let me log out of here. She has we have a few lumbers. Let's see. Shippers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now we only got these 5, 6 so far. And their loads suck. I'm not even moving these loads because the loads suck right now. Although we still got them. Scott's is a fertilizer company in Jackson, Georgia. Semper Foods, this guy only sends us 1 load a week. Like, really? And then I brought this one on board. When I came to her, she got this one. She had this one. I brought this one on board, Preferred Meals. So when I came in, and I only been with her about a month. 1, 2, 3. I bought these 3. So, but these are the shippers. Tampa International Food Products, Valley Incorporated Preferred Foods, which is Preferred Foods. Southmark, these are flat. This is a flatbed. This is a flatbed. This is a flatbed. Reefer, flatbed and dry van, and reefer. Matter of fact, I'm glad I'm looking at this. So while you guys are looking, Scott's is a flat. It could be van, but I'm gonna say flat. That way I know the equipment type. It helps when you rename your files, whether you're doing it on the dispatcher side or the freight agent and freight broker side. You know, in your system, Semper Foods is foods, or reefer, right? Foods. Of course, I know this is Forest. Forest is flatbeds. Forest lumber, basically lumber. You know that. flatbed, that's lumber, temper, international forest products. So I'll just put that there so I'll know. And preferred foods is reefer. They're like cold cuts and stuff like that. So, and then matter of fact, I got a few other shippers that I got to call. I haven't had time to even call shippers because I got an inside resource that gives me names of shippers who he knows for a fact needs brokers. I got an inside resource, so that's even better. It makes your job easier. So when you call them, they be like, yeah, just send me a packet. Just send me a shipper package. So you ain't got to go through that whole hoping that they say, yeah, you got shippers out there. So imagine that if you had already an inside source that you know need brokers. You can just call them and target them specifically. So, but next week, Friday, 6 to 8, we'll go ahead and I didn't even get a chance to go through the rest of the website, but that's fine. We left off at dealing with shippers. We got the different packets that you're going to have. There's two types of packets on the broker side. There's the shipper broker packet, and then there's the broker carrier packet. Those are the two types of packets. So the contents of the shipper broker packet that you send, that the broker or the freight agent sends to the shipper to get them set up, is going to contain your broker's authority, your BMC, your surety bond or trust fund, whichever one you have, BMC 84 or BMC 85, that's what they look like. And you guys are going to have access to that. I'm going to email you guys access to these back office area. As a matter of fact, members, the guys who enrolled, Tayshawn and everybody who's enrolled in already, who are on this platform, please email me because I'll forget. I got so much going on. I'm going to put this. That's my email. Just email me, guys. Lita, Tayshawn, Brandy, Karen, Gwen, and Felicia. Email me. Say, Charles, we need the passwords for Freight Broker 101. Because each section has a password for it, starting from prerequisites down to training videos. So it's different from dispatchers. It's different. So, but again, the different types of packet, the shipper broker packet, you're going to need this is BMC 8485. The brokerages, W9 for the brokerage, contingency cargo if they have it, and then a credit application. This is for the shipper to fill out so the broker can run a credit through their factoring company for the shipper to see what line of credit that the shipper is pre-approved for. That's what that means. So when you send that packet, include the credit application in there for the shipper to fill out so your factory company can run the credit for the shipper to see what line of credit they can get. And then the other packet is the carrier packet that you send to potential carriers to get them set up under the brokerage so they can run your loads as an approved carrier. Because some brokerages have assets already. They have their own trucks as part of the brokerage. There was called an asset-based brokerage. And then other brokerages don't have any trucks that they have under their brokerage, so they get a lot of carriers, approved carriers under the brokerage. So if you go to a shipper, which one would be easier for a shipper to say, yeah, send me a package? You think it's easier for a shipper to say to an asset-based brokerage or to a carrier-approved-based brokerage to say, yeah, send me a shipper package? Which one do you guys think is easier for the shipper to say, send me a packet to? Just throwing that out there for you guys. What do you guys think? Asset-based. Very good, Tayshawn. And the reason being is because you already got, as a brokerage, you already have your trucks. You already have your equipment ready. You don't have to go post a load out there hoping for a truck to call you. You already got maybe 5 reefers, 4 dry vans, and a couple of flatbeds to meet the capacity of the loads that the shipper is going to provide you. And if a shipper sees that, they're more than likely to go with you than they would with a broker who does not have any assets. That's how that works too. So it's a numbers game in this side of the transportation industry. It's a numbers game. So, but again, the The carrier packet, of course, you're going to have the carrier agreement. It's the same carrier packet on the dispatching side that the broker is going to send to your owner-operator. Now you're the broker, and you're sending out the carrier packet. So the roles have reversed now. You're acting as the broker or the broker agent. The roles have reversed. You're sending out the same packet to the carrier, but now you're acting as a broker or the broker agent, and you're sending it out to a potential carrier to get them approved to run under your brokerage to run those loads. You see how that works? It's coming full circle. So that's another good reason why you guys initially, for those who are working as independent dispatchers, you know, you got the dispatching side and you're dealing with the brokers, so you know why they send out carrier packets now. So now you're flipping your role now, going from a dispatcher to a freight agent. Now you're the broker or the agent. Now you're sending out the packet. So it's coming full circle. The information is the same. It's just that the roles have changed. So the same information in the packet, the profile, the carrier needs to send their MC authority, their certificate of insurance, their W-9. The same thing I tell dispatchers in the training to ask the carriers to send when they send back the dispatch agreement, or the same thing I tell the dispatchers to have to be ready to send the broker when the broker sends the packet out. Is the same thing that you're going to tell carriers that are looking to run loads under your brokerage now. It's the same thing. It's coming full circle. So hopefully you guys are starting to see that point. You're welcome, Brandy. It is good information. And also an NOA form. Remember, if the potential carrier that you're going to bring under the brokerage to start running loads for you has a factory company, then of course they're going to want to send an NOA form to your brokerage. So now you fill this out at the brokerage to run the credit, so the factory company can run the credit under your brokerage to make sure that you guys pay on time. So again, it's coming full circle. And then we go over booking a load. Let me see what the password is for this one. All right. So what is the workflow in booking a load? Here's the workflow. And I explained it right here. It's just a high-level explanation. Basically, this is how it looks. I'm gonna explain to you about 30 seconds or less all this right here. And it's not that much. I just didn't want to read through it. Okay, you get a contract from a shipper. Shipper gives you a target rate. Let's say $5,000. Your percentage or your markup as a broker is 20%. So you're going to resell that load to the carrier for $4,000. You make $1,000. You put the load on the load board. Carrier calls you. You send the carrier packet. They're filling it out. While they're doing that, getting that back to you with their W-9, certificate of insurance, MC authority, you're at the same time letting the shipper know, hey, I found a truck. Go ahead and send the load tender. They're going to send you the load tender. You're going to process that in your TMS system and produce what's called a rate confirmation. The load tender has the original $5,000 that the shipper sold you the load as the broker for. Once you get that load tender, you're going to change the numbers in when you build the load in the TMS system, you're going to change the numbers to reflect what you're going to sell that load to the carrier to so you can make your spread. So you're going to change $5,000 from the shipper to $4,000 on the rate confirmation. So it goes from a load tender from the shipper, you build it in the TMS system, and you produce what's called a rate confirmation to the carrier for $4,000. So you made that $1,000 spread. That's how that works in a nutshell. That's basically it. But there's a lot of smaller parts in that. But that's basically brokering freight in a nutshell. You get the load from the shipper, you sell it to the carrier, you make your spread, your split, your commission. That's it. It's just there's a process to doing that. That's all it is. That's all brokering is. Shanta said, I saw one load that had some extra stuff on it, but the broker whited it out, said, dang, I must have didn't ask the right question to get it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, fuel advances. And some brokerages offer fuel advances and fuel cards as a way to entice carriers to take that load. That's all. And he or she may have made a mistake by not including that information or excluding that information, and you may have seen that by accident or purposely. So, but brokering, that's all brokering is. You get the approved load from the carrier, from the shipper. You produce the rate confirmation and sell it to the carrier. You make your spread. Now, in that process, there's things to be done in that, and then we're going to learn and grow as a team doing that every step of the way. Just like we do in Dispatcher 101, how thorough we go through it, the same thing we'll do in Freight Broker 101 as well. I'll go into a TMS system, show you a TMS system, like we use Ascend. Here's a TMS system. This is the broker level TMS system, Ascend. Also, too, in Ascend, this is the TMS system, Metro Night Logistics, TMS. Under customers, here's another source of shippers. This is a live broker TMS system. Shipper directory, 26,000 shippers, right there. You don't believe me? There it is right there. 26,000 direct shippers, freight brokers, freight forwarders by state. So once we determine the states, that we feel have the freight that we can go after the manufacturers in, here's another. So in addition to this resource, here's another resource. Shanta said, this is too much information. That's too much information. Like Malcolm X said, the movie, that's too much power for one man to have. So let's say, for example, we determined that Ohio was one of the states that we determined based off of the map, right? Off of our research, that shippers and manufacturers, that this is a state that has good paying shippers. And we said, we determined as a group, as a collective, let's go after the shippers in this state and try to get them under Metro Night Logistics. So let's say Ohio was that. We can go, so not only to this resource, now we can go to our online resource in our TMS system, broker level TMS system that provides direct shippers in the state of Ohio. Now we can go after them in this state. And look at that. Page 1 of 101 pages. You see that? This ain't a game. All it. Page 1 of 101 pages of direct shippers, brokers, or forwarders. And they'll even tell you the entity type right here. Shipper, broker, or forwarder. So we can focus only on shippers. So I can give you guys a specific page to work on. Here's a shipper. You hit the plus sign. There's more information about them. You can call them, research them, look them up. Brochures, go to Google. Do your homework, copy, open up Google. There's so many ways to do your research going after them. Hope I can do it correctly. Let's copy that again. Ohio, Springboard, Ohio, here's their website. So now you get more information about them. You can read about the company, about us, and then get information about it so you can find it. So when you call them, you'll have an idea of who they are, what their commodity is. This is a large distribution facility. You see what I'm saying? So there's so many ways that we can work as a collective, as a team, to acquire the shippers for our brokerage as we're learning Freight Broker 101. You guys see where I'm going with this? And we can do this over and over again. Over and over again. So once we all learn our different scripts, and everybody's script and technique could be different, but once we come across a few that works, then we all can apply the one that works so we all can get the shippers at the same time and start to grow together. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Come on. Teamwork. Teamwork. Any comments, questions? So next Fridays at 6 o'clock, homework is, does everybody have this map to use as a point of reference so we can start determining which states do we think are the ones that could potentially have shippers that have good paying freight? At least everybody on this call who are a part of Freight Broker 101, I'm assuming you guys have the map. If you don't, again, my email is up there. Just send it to me. Also, to members of Freight Broker 101, please remind me to give you guys the passwords for each of the sections. I'm going to close this up. For each of the sections of the, let me log out of this. And once you guys who joined Kim, you guys will get access to the TMS system. You'll get access to that. You'll get access to 1, 2, 3 load board, the broker level, everything. So, all right. But guys, remind me of the ones who've already enrolled to give you the password for each section of, oh yeah, by the way, TMS. TMS, Transportation Management System, is basically broker freight software, and we'll go into that, show you how to build a load, how to, when you get a customer, how to enter their information into TMS system. Here's an example of one. The one we have is a SAN. Another one's called eFreight Solutions, Axis. A popular one's called Aljex. So there's many resources. And then under tools and resources, we have, I think I have the glossary, or the ebook, I'm sorry. The ebook and direct freight services, which is this is where I'm going to train you guys how to not only hear, but in DAT as well, how to post loads so carriers can see and call. But here's the Freight Broker 101 Training for Beginners ebook, 38 pages. 38 pages. I created this. So those who enroll, they'll get this ebook, basically reviewing everything that's on the website in more detail, all the links and everything. So, okay. So it's time to learn and grow together as agents, freight agents, and eventually freight brokers. If you're interested in enrolling in this one, Freight Broker 101 Training for Beginners, through March 31st, there is a 2-for-1, $3.99 one time, and it's just a one-time pay. $3.99, you're in. Lifetime membership. It's like joining a game. If you jumped in, you can't get jumped out. So there's no subscription of whatsoever. You're getting broker level access to the broker level TMS system, the broker level load boards, broker level PDF to thousands of shippers, broker level TMS directory of 26,000. I showed you everything. So, hey, all we got to do, we got all the tools and resources for success. All we have to do is to begin to start applying it. So all we got to do is get good paying shippers, or shippers with good paying lanes and loads, and go from there. Okay? All right, guys. You guys have a good evening. Enjoy your weekend. Dispatcher 101, guys. I'll see you guys on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Freight Broker 101. I'll see you guys next Friday evening. And use the map. Let's look for those states with good paying freight. I'm going to be looking at it over the weekend. So, all right. And I'm going to this is going to be uploaded into the training video. This is video number 1. So, and I'll email the passwords to those who are on the who are enrolled. So you guys will have it. It's just a Word document with the passwords on it. So, okay. All right, guys. Enjoy your weekend. I hope those who are tuned in as guests consider Freight Broker 101 Training for Beginners and starting off as a freight agent, coming up under a live brokerage to begin that side of the transportation industry. You may already be a dispatcher, so it's good that you're getting that experience. But then when you come over to the freight agent, freight brokering side, that foundation that you got under Dispatcher 101 will come in handy, very much so. So, okay? All right, guys. Have a good evening. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend.